The sun beat down mercilessly on the Arizona desert as Sam McKenna rode his bay horse along the dusty trail, heading back to his ranch after 3 days of searching for lost cattle. At 52, Sam had spent most of his life working this harsh but beautiful land, and he knew the signs of trouble when he saw them. The buzzards circling ahead meant something was wrong, and his years of frontier living had taught him never to ignore such warnings. As he approached the large, cottonwood tree where the birds had been gathering, Sam spotted something that made him urge his horse into a faster pace. A figure lay motionless in the shade, wrapped in what appeared to be a rough burlap sack. From the size and shape, it looked like a person, but Sam could not tell if they were alive or dead. Dismounting quickly, Sam approached with the caution of a man who had learned that the desert held both beauty and danger in equal measure. As he drew closer, he could see that the figure was breathing, though barely. Kneeling down beside the wrapped form, Sam heard a weak voice whisper from within the makeshift covering. "Please, just leave me be," the voice said, so faint he almost missed it. "I am beyond help now." Sam recognized the voice as belonging to a woman, though her words carried the exhaustion of someone who had given up hope entirely. "Ma'am, I am Sam McKenna. I am not going to hurt you, but I cannot just leave you here in this heat." "You do not understand," came the whispered reply. "I am not fit for human company anymore. Please, just let me die in peace." Sam felt his heart clench at the despair in her voice. In his 5 decades of life, he had encountered many people in desperate circumstances, but he had never heard such complete resignation from someone who was still alive. "Ma'am, whatever has happened, to you nobody deserves to die alone in the desert," Sam said gently. "Will you let me help you?" There was a long silence before the woman spoke again. "You will regret your kindness when you see what I have become." Sam carefully began to unwrap the burlap covering, speaking in the same calm tone he used with injured animals. "I have seen a lot of things in my time, ma'am. I doubt there is anything that would make me regret helping someone in need." As the covering fell away, Sam understood immediately why the woman had warned him. Her face and arms were covered with the telltale sores of smallpox, though they appeared to be in the healing stages rather than the acute phase of the disease. She had clearly been very ill, and her appearance bore the marks of someone who had suffered greatly. But what struck Sam most was not her condition, but her eyes. They held the particular shame of someone who believed that illness had made her unworthy of human compassion. "There," she said bitterly. "Now you see why I asked you to leave me alone. I am diseased, possibly still contagious. No decent person would want to be near me." Sam settled back on his heels, studying her face with the same calm assessment he would give any injured creature. "Ma'am, what is your name?" The question seemed to surprise her. "Why would you want to know my name?" "Because everyone deserves to be called by their proper name," Sam replied simply. "I am Sam McKenna, and I would like to know what to call you." The woman stared at him as if she could not quite believe he was still there. "I am Catherine Walsh. I was traveling with a wagon train when the sickness struck. The others left me behind when they realized what I had." Sam nodded with understanding rather than judgment. Wagon trains have to make hard choices sometimes, especially when disease is involved. "How long ago was that?" "A week, maybe more," Catherine replied. "I lost track of time. I wrapped myself in this sacking and crawled under this tree to wait for the end." Sam looked at her more closely, noting that while she was weak from dehydration and lack of food, her breathing was clear and her fever seemed to have broken. "Catherine, I think you may have beaten the worst of this illness. You look like someone who is recovering, not someone who is dying." "Even if that is true," Catherine said, "I cannot go back to civilized society looking like this. No one will hire a woman with pox scars. I have no family, no prospects. Death would be a mercy." Sam was quiet for a moment, then reached for his canteen. "Catherine, the first thing we need to do is get some water into you. Then we need to get you to somewhere safe where you can finish healing properly." "Did you not hear what I said?" Catherine asked with frustration. I have nowhere to go. No one will want me now. Well, Sam said, helping her sit up so she could drink. I reckon that depends on what a person is looking for. My ranch is about 10 miles from here. I live alone, and I could use help with the cooking and household tasks. The work is honest. The pay is fair, and I have never been the type to judge a person by their appearance. Catherine stared at him in disbelief. You would take a diseased woman into your home? I would take a recovering woman who needs a chance to rebuild her life, Sam corrected. Catherine, I have been alone on that ranch for 3 years, ever since my wife passed. The place could use a woman's touch, and you could use a place to heal and figure out what comes next. Why would you do this for a stranger? Catherine asked, tears beginning to flow down her scarred cheeks. Sam helped her take another sip of water before answering. Because 15 years ago, I was thrown from a horse and broke my leg so badly that I was sure I was going to die. A Navajo family found me and nursed me back to health, even though their own people had suffered greatly at the hands of white settlers. When I asked the old man why he helped me, he said that kindness is not something you give because someone deserves it. It is something you give because you are the kind of person who gives it. As Sam helped Catherine to her feet, supporting her weight as they walked slowly toward his horse, she spoke again. Sam, I need you to understand something. Even if I recover completely, I will never be beautiful again. These scars will never fade entirely. Sam paused in his work of helping her mount his horse, looking at her with the honesty that had characterized their entire conversation. Catherine, in my experience, the most beautiful people are the ones who have survived something difficult and come out the other side with their capacity for hope intact. You wrapped yourself in burlap and crawled under a tree to die, but when a stranger offered you water, you accepted it. That tells me your hope is stronger than your despair. 6 months later, Catherine stood in the kitchen of the McKenna Ranch, preparing dinner and listening to Sam's accounts of his day as he cleaned up for the evening meal. Her face still bore the faint marks of her illness, but her health had returned completely, and more importantly, her sense of worth had been restored through months of useful work and genuine companionship. Sam, she said, as they sat down to eat, I've been thinking about what you said that day you found me, about kindness being something you give because of who you are, not because of what someone deserves. What about it? Sam asked, serving himself from the stew she had prepared. I think I understand now, Catherine replied. You did not save my life because I was worthy of saving. You saved my life because you are the kind of man who saves lives, and I think that may be the most beautiful thing anyone has ever done for me. Sam smiled across the table at this woman who had become not just his housekeeper, but his closest friend, and eventually something much more precious than either of them had expected. Catherine, I think the most beautiful thing you ever did was accept that water when I offered it. It takes courage to let someone help you when you have given up on yourself. Sometimes the most profound rescues happen not when we pull someone from physical danger, but when we refuse to let them disappear into the darkness of their own despair, and show them that every person has value that cannot be diminished by circumstance or appearance.